My name is Kiri Taskovsky. I'm the owner of Kiki's restaurant here in Wollongong. I've owned Kiki's for about 7 months now. We started off with nothing and we've prospered within these 7 months based on the fact of our quality of food, our fine dining and our word of mouth.
Samuel Dodd, and I own Stokes Lane Cafe in Bulli.
My name's Daniel Smith. I'm the venue manager at His Boy Elroy in Wollongong. I've worked here for over 3 years. I started in September 2019. I've been the venue manager here for about 6 to 8 months.
We were definitely down opposed to our normal trading week. The costings obviously went up higher in wages, in buying a lot of stock. A lot of it did go to waste because it can only last a certain amount of time, and a lot of it had to get thrown out. So it's quite a big shame.
In here, it was a bit down unusual. What I found that it wasn't too far down. We're a very consistent business. We have a lot of regular customers that come in every week, sometimes multiple times a week. The regulars basically disappeared. No one from outside of Wollongong was coming in. So we still had good trade from the people that had travelled to the place to come for the UCI, like all the tourists and stuff as well. We had good trade, but we didn't have a lot of our regular customers.
The trade was actually quite good. We're fortunate enough to be on the main road, plus the bike race went past our cafe about 50 metres away.
It cost me probably triple in wages that I would normally spend. And you know, you have to cover that. You have to take it out of your own pocket. Then you've still got your normal, you know, things like your rent and everything else that comes along with it. You know, so I'm very disappointed.
We ordered extra stock, but I mean, it's not like we're not going to sell it. We've already sold through most of it anyway. So I have got a few extra kegs out there that we'll just chuck on. Yeah, it's not a huge issue for us.
As a business owner, I was promised X amount of people that were coming. You know, there was talks of saying, you know, there's going to be up to 500,000 people. The Lord Mayor walked past, he said, oh, look, you're going to be really busy and whatnot. And it's typical, obviously, as a representative to the Wollongong district that someone's going to say that. But we didn't get nowhere near that. And they reckon their final figures were up to 200,000. I didn't see 200,000 people here.
We weren't told, I mean, as far as I know, we weren't told directly by council. I think the GPT building were briefed by council that there's like, we're expecting this many people over the span. That kind of got conflated. It was like, we're expecting 300,000 people over the period of that week, but a lot of people thought that that was at a time, and I mean, that would have been bedlam. I don't think Wollongong could hold that many people.
I just think it was, it wasn't something that was they portrayed out to be.
We were briefed by GPT, but I don't think we were misled. GPT were kind of just like, we don't know what's going to happen.
To me, it was more of a promise than, you know, a prediction is or like the forecast, like the weather. You know, they can say it's going to rain tomorrow and it's going to be 70%. Yeah, well, in actual fact, it rains. But it was more of a promise the way I took it on board with council.
Yeah, the owners and us had a meeting with GPT a couple of days before it started, and they were like, we expect these specific days to be busy. So they expected the first Sunday of the race, which was the men's time trial, and then the Saturday and Sunday, the women's road race and the men's road race to be busy. And they said during the week will probably be steady, but those days specifically. On the Wednesday, because the Wednesday was the relay, well, we extra staffed, we told staff that we might not need you, and everyone was cool. They were like, some people were just like, yeah, it's tough for me to get in, so I can't come in, that's fine.
We did put on extra staff. We put on 2 extra staff each day, just in case, because we didn't know, it was all unknown. I don't think the city knew what was going on, how it was going to go, you know. But we put a couple of extra staff on, which is actually pretty good, because we actually were busier on coffee, a lot of takeaways. So the staff enjoyed it because they got a bit more hours. The cafe traded quite well. Yeah, all in all, it was actually quite a positive experience, looking back on it now from a business perspective.
I don't think it was organised properly. I think the way it was targeted from the bottom part of town and the top part of town in respect to the food stalls and all this sort of stuff, activity. We were just we're a walkway from the mountains to the sea. That's all we are here. The way it was all spread out and all that sort of stuff, you know, they had fine dining, they had dining down there, they had dining up there. We were sort of left in the slump here, right where we are here in the mall, you know.
We did have the food truck down at the finish line, and the food truck did really well. It was quite successful down there. There's only 3 or 4 food trucks down there, so that really helped out, and it was, especially on the weekends, the Sundays especially were super popular down there, so that helped.
Very unfair, very unfair. You know, it was the way they, you know, they just put a couple of table and seating arrangements out here, thinking, oh yeah, it's going to help people out. I mean, it doesn't. I can tell you now, to this day, they're still empty, you know. The only thing was on the last day, you know, some of the athletes were taking the flags and that off, and that's probably the most activity I've seen during the whole event.
We had a bunch of the cyclists. So we actually had, for our men's mental health charity, Bastard Brothers, we had an exercise bike out the front. We did this calorie challenge where you had 5 minutes to burn, I think it was 80 calories. It was what our owner Lachlan did in 5 minutes. And so then if you beat it, then you got a free burger and fries. But it was like a $10 donation. So you donated $10 to Bastard Brothers, you did the challenge, and if you broke the calories, you would get a free burger in store. So we had a lot of the cyclists, right? So the whole Czech under 23 team, and one of them did it in like 2 minutes. And then they all came in after that and they're all trying to beat the record and stuff. So we had quite a few cyclists in. We had a couple of guys from Latvia and stuff as well. And on the Sunday, once the road race had finished, we had heaps of, we had like Japanese tourists or Japanese team members and stuff, heaps of different team members come in that day.
We were more busier on the Alice in Wonderland thing that happened at the entertainment centre where there was 3,000 kids here. We were more busy on that day than what we were through the whole entire period of the UCI. We were promised we're going to be really busy and we're going to have hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, it was look, it's a global event, and it's just nothing. To me, it was just possibly just a waste of time. I was better off just closing shop and just going away on a holiday. You know, that was my time where I could have gone on a holiday, but I didn't. I thought, no, I'll stay open and, you know, introduce these beautiful people from all over the world to our fine dining, but it was nowhere near as what we expected it to be.
Instead of getting the tourists on top of our regular business, we didn't really get the extra business. We kind of just stayed about the same. We were down a little. And the deliveries being, basically you couldn't deliver food during the day. Deliveroo and stuff couldn't deliver, so we were down on during the day for customers. Like, everything was open by 6 p.m. and there was parking everywhere and stuff. Like, it wasn't an issue, I think. Especially some of the local media, Royal Mercury leading in, Mercury Win News, stuff like that, a lot of stories, and not necessarily their fault, just a lot of stories about road closures. People weren't reading, seeing a lot of headlines. People just like, well, we're just going to avoid Wollongong for the week, which I don't blame people. It was a hassle. But yeah, a lot of people didn't even realise that the car parks were open, that everyone was open, it was all fine to get into town. But I think that, to me, that's my theory anyway. When the roads are closed all day, it's just tough. And we had some orders that would sit there for a while, so we would turn them off. Like, it's like, oh, this order's been waiting here for an hour. Oh, well, I guess no one can pick it up because no one's driving. So we would turn them on at 6 o'clock, and that was super popular. Like, lots of people ordering, like they blow up instantly. So that was all right. That helped out.
There's a lot of people watching the bike race, and we got a fair bit of trade after it, before it. And then there was a lot of people standing around waiting for it, before it, drinking coffees, eating food. It was actually a positive thing. I found it was good for the area. People enjoyed it, and it was something that we may never see again.
It's not fair at all. It's not fair at all. I'd like to see a soccer event. I'd like to see maybe a volleyball event. Anything that's going to attract people. I don't see anything happening in the near future based with this, what we were promised. So, you know, they should have really taken their, you know, homework. They should have, you know, invested in speaking to a lot of people, speaking to the locals, speak to us.
With a road race like that, it's tough. I don't think that there was much more that they could have done. I mean, maybe they could do like payments and stuff. I'm not sure how financially feasible that is. I don't think that's really the way to go. I mean, a lot of the businesses who embraced it, like one that for instance, the Cabbage Tree Hotel just went with it. They put their tables out the front. I mean, it's different. If you run like a clothes store, what are you going to do? Or a hairdresser, you're kind of screwed. I understand that. I understand why people were upset.
We're out of pocket, you know, a substantial amount of money based on what were so-called promised. You know,
That's just sort of the price you have to pay for stuff like that, I think. Yeah.